I had an opportunity to be in conversation with the founder and CEO of business consulting firm, Dr. Padmini Vedula. With over 2 decades of experience spanning across banking, insurance, and edutech sector, she now leads Tritiksha Consulting firm, where she offers guidance to many organizations for sustainable growth, profitability, and operational excellence. Maam is expertise in strategic planning, business development, and total quality management. Dr. Vedula blends strategic vision into hands-on expertise to drive transformative results. Her deep insights on risk management, customer operations, and leadership make her an invaluable partner for all the businesses who is aiming not only to compete but to lead. We had an opportunity to ask many questions related to the challenges faced by the businesses and the common startup problems, and how the help and support of a business consulting firm is going to scale up the startup. Maam is also an author and she's a TEDx speaker. So get ready to be amazed with this insightful conversation from an extraordinary person.
Solutions for the company. Please tell us about your role in the company as a senior general manager.
First 2 years, it might be one of the high risk, but after they reach a financial stability, then it might be in the moderate risk. And
there is a new AI tool in the market, Tring AI. This AI tool helps all the businesses.
Confidence is just hesitation flipped on its head, one small bold step at a time. These lines were quoted by an extraordinary entrepreneur, a business excellence strategist, a startup mentor, an accomplished author, a TEDx speaker, and our special guest today. Ma'am, it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you in the podcast. Thank you so much for accepting the invite and welcome to Undefined. Ma'am, you are a founder and CEO of a business consulting firm, which is Tritiksha Consulting. Can you please share us your journey about building this firm and how special it is for you?
thank you so much. First of all, I'm so happy to be here today, Vinod. Thank you for having me here. That's a great question to begin with. Tritiksha Consulting definitely is very close to my heart. And when a few years back, while I was still in my corporate journey, I never envisaged that someday I would start something like this. For me, this is special for two reasons. Number one, I'm able to impact larger number of individuals, I must say. And number two, for the fact that most of them on my team are women. So both the ways, both in terms of women empowerment and also in terms of bringing impact to the society, where I'm drawing so much from, Tritiksha Consulting is very special.
Ma'am, when we talk about your services of the firm, how different it is in delivering the solutions to business-related problems comparing to other similar firms in the market? I mean, what sets you apart from other firms, ma'am?
Right. Just to give you a practical difference between what others do and what my venture does is, if you have heard of this term called business coach, there are many coaches, many consultants around in various domains these days. And business consulting is an overarching thing. It covers many things, or most of the things in a business, not just specializing into, say, either sales or marketing or operations, AI, but it looks into everything else. So now the fundamental difference between coaching and consulting is As a coach, I would identify the problems, I would give solutions, and I will ensure that they are reaching their potential and they are able to get the results. But as a consultant, I have an extended responsibility on me. Not that I just identify the problems, give them solutions to manage it or take care of it. While they are implementing, it becomes my responsibility to ensure that I'm always around. If need be, demonstrate how to implement and get the desired results. In case someone in a business owner or his or her team are not able to get that results in a specified period of time, then again it goes back to through the entire loop. We get back to the same beginning stage and we implement. So what I mean is, in comparison to others, with due respect, with all the other consultants and coaches available for people today or available for businesses today, where Tritiksha Consulting brings in a niche is, number one, we are going to be there through the thick and thin of a business till the time they achieve their results. Therefore, when we offer our services, we divide them into short term, medium term, and long term so that we understand the expectations of the business owners and we time it and we try to bring those results in. So we are fully there till the time they get there into that specified time. So that is one thing which has really set us apart in the market today, I must say.
That is amazing to hear, really, ma'am. So, do you offer consulting for all type of industries and all categories of business, or you are primarily focused on specific niche or certain categories, ma'am?
That's definitely an interesting question, Vinod, I must say. I know while I was in my corporate stint, I usually always used to debate whether I have to be a specialist in something or a generalist. But knowing my personal traits, I'm somebody who embraces novelty. I need freshness all the time, doing different things, again, holding back to the core. So that's when in my last organization where I had spent almost 12 to 13 years, I had changed roles every 18 months. Now, bringing it back to my business today, I try and cater to several industries. If you ask me, currently I'm catering to 8 to 10 industries, whether they are manufacturing, traders, publication, food and apparel, apparel, clothing and apparel, food and beverage. And recently, we have onboarded a client who is into API development. That's his forte. So I'm happy being absolutely industry agnostic. And what I've realized, come to realize after speaking to all these business owners, when they give us their primary set of problems is the rules of the game don't change. Only the way they look at it, the intensity or the magnitude at which they operate always differ. So that way, I'm absolutely seamlessly, me and my team are able to execute assignments across domains, I must say.
Ma'am, let us talk about your career. You started your career as a branch training manager. At the beginning of your career, earlier stages, have you ever had any vision or thought about that you would become the boss of a company, you would become a CEO? Did you had that vision, ma'am?
Honestly speaking, not in my slightest of the dreams, I must say, Vinod. So when I started off as a branch training manager, that was one of the brilliant companies of the Tata Group. In fact, I had the opportunity to work with two such brilliant businesses of Tata Group over a span of almost 18 years, I must say. And the day I got my appointment letter at my first Tata Group office, my father told me one thing. Beta, this is like a government office in the public sector. Please plan your retirement from there. So for a very long time, for several years, almost 12, 13 years, I took that idea so seriously that yes, I must retire from this.
Okay.
But over a period of time, I would say when I started aging or rather becoming a little wiser, getting a lot of exposure, experience with the help of my supervisors and all, I thought, why not the knowledge what I get should be useful to people at large. And I'm somebody in my upbringing itself, if I branch out, if I move out, start something on my own. That's when I was ideating onto what kind of business I should start, I felt what comes naturally to me, which is strategizing, solving problem, bringing in a lot of impact. Consulting came very, very naturally to me. So after I moved out of my illustrious career at Tata, I was able to start an equally illustrious venture, which is into consulting services, and I'm very happy to be there. And as far as you said, being my own boss, I don't know how to comment on that, but yes, I'm happy that I'm my own boss. I don't have to get up and get into a con call at 8:30 in the morning. Probably I can
Okay.
start it at 9. But I must say that being one's own boss makes one even more responsible and accountable. अगर छुट्टी चाहिए तो बॉस को बोलते हैं छुट्टी डाल दिया सिक लीव डाल दिया या कैजुअल लीव डाल दिया बट वंस यू आर योर ओन बॉस you would start thinking twice what happens to my customers if I'm not there. Will there be something that they would want me to be around for?
Yes.
So those kind of small accountabilities, and what instead of taking a leave, is there something that I can take off for say a couple of hours and finish my stuff so that I'm available, I'm able to innovating something, strategizing on something to do much better. So therefore, becoming a once boss, I must say, is even more responsible thing to be with.
You
So I'm
actually
happy.
redefined definition of boss, ma'am. And thank you. And ma'am, am I audible and visible again?
Oh yes, you are.
Yes.
You are.
So then you worked in a company, Tata AIG Life Insurance, where you were into quality assurance and also you were into training. So uh, please tell us a little bit about the experience in the company, and where did you get time to explore the life insurance part, and were you into selling policies? Did that interest you any way, ma'am?
But in fact, I must tell you, vicariously, I had to sell policies. So the training that I used to do was for these IRDA agents. You know, IRDA is a regulatory body of insurance in India, and an agent who wants to take up the job of selling policies have to necessarily clear that exam.
Yes.
So first thing I had to clear my exam. Then once I clear, then I get the opportunity to train people or agents, so-called future agents, to sell policies. So first thing was training them on IRA. So the first challenge was on day one of the training. It was some 150, 160 hours of course. Okay. On this first day of training, you will find so many people clocking into the room, so bubbling that you would want to sell policies, this, that, and across all ages. By
Yes.
the day 8, it would be so difficult to keep up their morale of going through the entire course plus giving the exam and selling. But jo tik gaya, wo tik gaya forever. So our actually by the time the people would come out of the room after the exam or the clearance, there were just probably 20% of the lot who started on day 1. So that was one big challenge. So we had to really ideate how do we get people stay interested for longer time. After that, I was put into an assignment with one of the channels, agency channels, or rather, I recall it vividly as it was a direct marketing through call centers, where you would have young agents. Most of them were freshers just out of college. Now these days, MBA has become mandatory even for a first-time job. But during those days, almost 18, 20 years back, even while you're pursuing your graduation or your just graduation pass with your mark list, you could get a job. So we would have only freshers who would not know anything of a job, and they were supposed to sell policies over the phone. So that way, I used to end up managing most of their calls. They would only try and say hello and say a little bit of the product, and I would do most of it, including the closing. So if you ask me, that was my first assignment in sales over the phone. Then I realized if I'm able to convince somebody over the phone, then it's done. I when I'm in person, when I look at somebody in person, meet in person, then my chances are high. So that was my first assignment, and I must say that call center did pretty well.
Okay.
Because they were working for Tata AI, they were the outsourced agency. So that's when I got the opportunity to manage not just Hyderabad, but a couple of centers in Chennai as well.
Okay.
Those days. So that's how I slightly expanded. I understood that connect is very important, whether it's over phone or in person. That's the key. Yes.
So after the big career in life insurance, because life insurance is an integral part of everybody's life, and a lot of people are yet to explore it, they do not know the importance of life insurance. And after this career, you stepped into education sector, where you were into a sales of a product. So, ma'am, My first question is what is the reason that you stepped into education sector from an insurance sector? And if it is not confidential, can you share a little bit about your about the product you are into implementing sales touch?
See, there was definitely no reason as such from moving from an insurance business to an edtech, because as I said, few years into the career, I started feeling that I wanted to do something bigger, and I
Okay.
never had the answer. So in that quest, when I got an opportunity from Tata Classes, which is the next business of the Tatas, where it's an edtech office, education technology business, I just took it up. And of course, those days, as a mom of two young kids, any bit of salary increase in salary was always most welcome. But I didn't know that I would spend a longer stint at that. And when I moved into Tata Classes, since I had training background at the Tata AIA, I got into the training role where I was heading erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, when Telangana and Andhra were still not divided. That was a unified state. I was managing the entire training team for this part of the country. Then there came a situation when there were one, two movements internally. I had the opportunity of managing complete South, then East to some extent, and UP, which is supposedly a little different place to be in, being a South Indian, I must
Okay.
say. So I had handled training for a very long time. So
Okay.
my team would go and train the teachers. Our customers were schools and
Oh,
our end users were teachers, and we
teachers.
would
Oh,
sell digital content. Being an edtech
wow.
company, we would sell them digital content and digital infrastructure, so that they could, with the help of those, they could teach in the classroom. It could be projectors, pens, and all these. These days, you see huge IFPs, interactive
Yes.
flat panels these days. But back then in 2010, 11, the projectors were much in use. So that was the product. And then from then, after 3, 4 years, as I told you, I started getting little comfortable in my own space. Then I told my boss very clearly I would want to do something more. He said, go and talk to the CEO. So I gathered courage to go and talk to the CEO. I said, I'm feeling little comfortable in my space. I need to. Then he said, okay, that's good news. And he put me into sales immediately. He made me so uncomfortable because I was absolutely comfortable in my job. And I said, I'm comfortable. He put me into an uncomfortable zone. So
Mhm.
that's where I made my second time entry into sales. And
Okay.
yes, the products were the same. And in terms of sales, I was not doing retail sales, but I was given the responsibility of bringing sales from the large chains of schools.
Okay.
So, for example, there are chain of schools like DPS, DAVs, then CMS of the world. So there are. So my job, along with my team, was to bring sales from those schools.
Okay.
So those are the products that we sold, and we serviced only key clients that
No.
point of time.
Okay.
So triple the energy required, triple the
Hey,
result as well, I
yeah.
must say.
Wow, quite a story, ma'am, really. Because if talking about education sector, that would be the base for any business consulting firm, and the training is the base for any firm. It's really important part. So, and in this company, you implemented an initiative called Idea Lab Initiative. What was that about, and how did you propose it, and what was the outcome, ma'am?
So Ideas Lab was a collective idea of my team, I must say, at that point of time.
Okay.
And I really had great team members at that point of time who were bubbling with a lot of ideas and energy. And we didn't know how to channelize. Then one of my senior team members proposed, Padmini, why don't we start a lab so that we get solutions to the problems that we have today while servicing our clients? It's just started as a passing thought. We will bring in the problems which are not helping our clients while using our products. And over a period of time, when we started, there were very few ideas and few of them got implemented. That was at a very, very smaller scale. But over a period of time, my immediate supervisor and my super boss also liked this idea, and it slowly turned into something called Ideas Edge, where it has become a company wide initiative completely.
Okay.
So
Wow.
anybody in the company could give an idea. it would be open for say a month or so. We would celebrate it as Ideas Edge month. And technically, it used to be around October, November, when the sales team is also at peace, not running after the numbers because the last quarter becomes very intense for them, JFM, Jan, Feb, March. So they are at least, they are also able to contribute. So then it became a company-wide initiative where all the employees would give ideas, the top 10 would be selected, and it would be taken up for implementation along with CXOs. For every shortlisted idea, a CXO would be assigned, be it a CFO, CMO, or the CEO himself, these CSO, and they would take it for completion. There would be timelines, there would be closure lines, and what is the impact. So then it would be taken back either as a product, as a service, or as a best practice or a continuous improvement. It would come into the mainstream. That way we really made massive progress when this was implemented for the last few years. My last few years with the organization. It's, as I said, it started off with a passing thought and it became quite a wave inside the company itself.
It's beautiful, ma'am. Really, I think all the companies should come up with such initiatives.
In fact, I would say in the Tatas, what I've seen is when we were learning about best practices for our business from others, we have seen that any business of Tata which has embraced total quality management, TQM, they mandatorily have such opportunities, such channels like quality circles or CO circle or something. For them, they really thrive on ideas. We probably came a little late, although we implemented for a number of years. For a giant like Tata's, I think it came naturally to them. So every Tata business, they would like to have ideas from inside. That's when we gave this idea, got accepted into the organization.
Guys, another wonderful news is there is a new AI tool in the market called Tring AI. This AI lets all the businesses and their processes to be automated with the support of the Tring AI. They help in building chatbots and voice bots to handle sales and marketing, customer interactions, managing the entire systems of businesses. I recently had an opportunity to meet their management team and they are very, very keen in delivering great solutions, automate businesses and build chatbots and voice bots for all type of organizations. I've given the contact in the description with their website. Power up your businesses with Tring AI today.
I presume this to be one of the greatest heights that you have reached in your career in employment. You became the senior general manager of Tata Class Edge. You are into quality management, business. You are also a business strategist. You are into the most complicated process of any company, which is the risk management, one of the very challenging, and I should say that risk management people are really stylish in delivering the solutions for the company. Please tell us about your role in the company as a senior general manager.
Great. Thanks for asking that. It brings a lot of pleasant memories back to my mind. As I just mentioned a while ago, when I joined Tata Class Edge, I was with them for 13 years. Every 18 years, I would take a change. So while I was in sales, that's when Tata Class Edge started going for, or rather applying for, the standard ISO 9001-2015, which is in general applicable to any business. So they were looking at somebody who could take this responsibility up along with the external auditor from the company. Then anyways, I was always infamous for asking for opportunities all the time. So that came my way. My CEO and my boss recommended my name, saying that since this is new, you also like doing new things. So why don't you get into it? That's when I met a mentor during the course of that implementation. The person who actually helped the company to get certified on this template became my mentor after that, my quality management and risk management mentor. So that's when I understood how important quality management and risk management to the organization is. People take quality is only documentation. उनको लगता है कि quality है तो इतने सारे documents fill करने पड़ते हैं, but they don't understand that quality management is synonymous with business management. If you are able to streamline your processes, you are able to do repetitive tasks with a lesser amount of time, you are able to optimize things across the organization which has linkages between departments. It is nothing but managing the business in the most qualitative manner. So that was the quality management part of it. And of course, risk management, I never knew what risk management was all about till then. But then I understood this is the most underrated aspect of a business.
Yes.
Every business person, every organization talks about, say, market risk, financial risk, liquidity risk, this, and that, but nobody actually bothers that they should work towards it. So as a part of my risk management role, because these were 2-3 roles summed into one while I was in the strategy functions, strategy plus quality plus risk, we were responsible, me and my immediate supervisor were responsible for creating the risk management framework. So where we would list down the enterprise level risk, then departmental level risk, क्योंकि हर department का अपना अपना risk होता है, and when you blow it up at the 10,000 feet height, then it looks a little different. So both at enterprise level and both at departmental level, we had to help identifying the risk, then helping the heads of the department to put a plan.
Okay.
यहाँ तक तो आसान था. This was just 30%. The next 60% was always difficult, getting them to implement that.
Yes, that is.
So that's where it took us a lot of time, help them accept it.
Okay.
Otherwise, this was the last priority for anybody in the organization. Not just that, when I come across any business owner, even today, when I talk to him or her, for them, risk management, they absolutely acknowledge, yeah, we understand, but let's do something about it. Yeah, I'll come back. So that's usually the field. I think it has to have much more acceptance within the businesses.
Okay.
That's an extremely crucial aspect that a business person has to look into. So that's where I started learning about risk management, actually fell in love with it. Then I went on to get my doctorate degree in risk management. So the journey has been immensely fulfilling, I should say, Vinod.
Let us talk about your early years for a moment. You graduated with a finance and accounting degree, and then you did your master's in accounting and economics, I believe. So on the whole, how was your learning experience in the college, ma'am?
Thanks to my parents, they put me into an autonomous college and all women college.
Okay.
So bunk मारना तो दूर की बात है, गेट भी नहीं छलांग मार सकते थे. So we had a very, very strict principle, and the college where I had graduated from is a missionary college.
Okay.
And there those sisters are very, very particular about discipline. So I had no choice but to focus on what I was doing. So that was definitely a great experience. And my favorite all the time had been getting into something where people found it difficult to enter.
Okay.
One such subject during my graduation, I remember, was income tax. We had both direct taxation and indirect taxation.
Okay.
And most of my team members would find it very difficult.
Okay.
But the plus point was that professor, I can't call her professor because she was just 3 years older to us. She was an alumni of our own college who used to teach us taxation, and she used to teach it so beautifully. It was like as simple as abhi exam likh hi sakte hain. We don't need preparation.
Wow.
That got me interested into a very, very tough subject.
Yes.
And I took it as an opportunity to help her all the time. So I became kind of an assistant. If somebody does not understand something in income tax, I would go and help both my own peers and also one class up. And in fact, there were times where I would take secretly tuitions after the college. Okay. Neither my parents knew nor my professors knew about it. And that's when I understood that if you have something to offer, people will come up to you, take that help. And
yes,
the moment you start giving them more comes to you. Because I got deeper into the subject, and I got absolutely fantastic marks in my income tax paper. I must say that thanks to
Wow.
all my professors. So that was a great learning experience. I just understood that if you are able to focus, either by yourself or somebody forces you to do that, but if you're able to focus, the opportunities are immense. So it opened up opportunity for me to become a little famous and give to offer what I had. So which is exactly what I'm doing back in my business now. I know something, so I keep spreading that work.
Yeah.
And the more I spread, I get to know more out of their experience as well.
Okay. And also, you hold a DMS, Doctor of Management Studies degree, which is equivalent to a PhD,
Oh, yes.
which is, and also you have done so many certifications. Ma'am, what is so interesting about learning? I should really ask you because all the time I see the continuous learning process in your career.
Again, I mean, the credit goes to my parents, to a
Okay.
great extent, my father. It's
Okay.
in my genes. He is an avid reader and a great writer. He has translated several known works of Bengali into Telugu and Hindi. So I think some part of it comes from genes and some part of it comes from interest because I am somebody who always liked indoor games. So learning was another indoor game. I mean, that I took it as an indoor game because my father had so many books, including psychology, poetry. You ask, and of course, I mean, he had lot of books, which was the classic comics. In today's life, in today's world, the youngsters would not understand. So those were the books I got accustomed to. And when I moved into my graduation college, there was thankfully a big library. So I felt that I can read more. I got a little greedy that I can read. And that's when I understood continuous learning. And that actually helped me to participate in debate competitions, essay competitions, because my angularities in terms of my perspective, they started widening. So therefore I understood come what may, I should keep learning. Those days I used to learn through books. I do it even today, but now the modality has slightly changed because of paucity of time. Maybe a podcast, maybe a video or a short book summary, but that has remained. Learning has remained constant, and it is even more important for me in my current profession because I deal with different sectors at the same time. So the best way to understand a sector is the information available. Squeeze as much information is available from the business owner and take rest of it from the public domain. So I don't have a choice but to keep learning. So I
Okay.
can bring in lot of perspectives from outside to the inside and take a lot of learning from inside to my own outside perspective to keep validating them. So that way, this will remain my constant agenda for coming several years, and I enjoy it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's going to help a lot of students understand because it should be said by an appropriate person. For example, if they ask me, and I'm going to say because my experience about learning is I completed my engineering and I'm the top ranker person in my class. I'm the first, and I also am a gold medalist. And also they have recommended me for a lot of awards. I became quite known for all the circles, but suddenly, on one day, when I was about to get the gold medal, my mom woke me up from sleep. So this is my story. Actually, it is not.
Okay.
So, anyways, it should be said by an appropriate person when you say it's perfect, and a lot of students are going to really get good insights from you. Ma'am, you are also a TEDx speaker. So, what was the topic about, and how was the space, the TEDx platform, ma'am?
In fact, that was the first large professional platform that I got exposed to in terms of public speaking. The topic was really good, which was, this is very fascinating, although it was predetermined, but it was about making choices in life. So I picked up making choices, yes, but a slight extension is when you are making choices, how can you maximize? So pick or pack, that was the title I had, but it was more to do with in terms of making choices and maximizing your life. And more than the speech that I finally delivered, the talk that I finally delivered, what remains with me even today is number one, the idea itself. Because all of us know that we have to make several choices, at times out of our own choice or at times out of compulsion. But whatever it is, can you look into an opportunity, look for an opportunity inside the choice that you had made? So the idea itself was very special to me. Number two, the experience of it, because that was a large platform, lot of brilliant speakers coming up with their interesting stories, and I was there giving my perspective. So I learned to appreciate the perspectives of others more, because they were coming from different backgrounds. They would look at the same thing little differently all the time. And the third thing, of course, the practice that went into it. Those number of, I mean, preparing the talk, then practicing it, because these are all time bound, say 16 to 18 minutes. I always got used to free flowing speech. But if you start telling me that you have only 16 minutes, the first thing is, will I be able to do it?
Okay.
So practicing it for those 16 to 18 minutes and delivering it without any kind of error, pronunciation, or just, I mean, not stopping anywhere was a great experience. And I made great friends who are friends till today. They are very, very accomplished people in their own domains. So brilliant memories. And in fact, that opened up lot of opportunities for me, public speaking domain. So tomorrow also I'm off to one of the top colleges at Warangal, where they are celebrating the Women's Day week,
Okay.
right from 1st to 7th of March. So they invited me over for the third, which is tomorrow's slot, where I would be talking about from idea to startup
Okay.
into entrepreneurship. And they seem to have one small elective in entrepreneurship along with their engineering courses.
Okay.
So hence I've been in. So that gave me a lot of opportunities, I must say, the TED Talk.
Ma'am, talking about relationships today, there is always a gap between the couple. So, comparing the older days, the relationship was so dedicated and close. Today, it almost changed. Talking about these topics, you were an author of a book, which, when it comes to the author of a book called The Pursuit of True Love, which is a very important topic, especially for today's generation. It's going to really help them understand what is the true love means. Ma'am, can you please share us about your work, about the book, and also does it define the value of relationship, and also about your experience as an author overall?
Certainly. Thank you for bringing it up. I must say, when I started writing a book, I never thought that I will write a book in this genre of romance. And when I was researching about do people read this genre, I was pleasantly surprised to know that that is the first most popular genre that people read worldwide, but don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They talk about, say, motivational books, they talk about management books, they talk about subject books, but more than all of these, they read this genre, romance. But that was a research that I did much later after my book got published, just to see, am I on the right path? But when I did this book, to be very frank, this was definitely to help one of my friends who was in a trauma.
Okay.
And this is her real life story, which she had gone through, and she emerged victorious. So, without divulging to the world that this is a real time, because people feel that this can be a marketing stunt. But I know, she knows, and God knows that this was a real piece of work. And today, yeah, you and through you, your few of your other audience would come to know this is a real life story. And I told her, if I during the course of writing the book, the more you talk about that incident, the sooner you will come out of it.
Yes.
I found that therapy working very well with her. Otherwise, people, once they get into depression, they are into depression for a longer period of time. And that got accepted. We sold good number of copies, and the proceeds that come from that books go to a charity which is close to her, close to the place where she resides in Hyderabad. So now she channelizes her trauma, or rather tragic story, the proceeds that comes in, she uses it, and she is now loving. She's back to her life, absolutely normal, doing great in her. And as far as my journey concerned as an author, I must say I loved it. I had this flair of writing in for a very long time. Again, thanks to my genes. My dad, as I said, is a writer, so I could inherit a little of it, although I couldn't take more of it. I mean, he has a lot more in him. So it came naturally to me. And if you see my LinkedIn, I keep writing something or the other. For me, that is one getaway activity.
Okay.
I have an idea, I like it, and I feel energized. So I don't write it for others. You may say that, Padmini, you're writing it for the whole world. I don't know. If somebody likes it, they consume it, it's up to them. But I write it because I want to pen down my ideas. I would want to get energized from what I write.
Okay.
See, what do? When you read something, you instantly get energized. So why not getting energized from my own work? So the experience was very good. And in fact, I have two more which are in pipeline, definitely not the same genre, but I'm now trying to be a little more serious.
Okay.
I'm now getting on to the business side of writing.
Okay.
Two books. So in another 6 months' time, you will get to see one, and the other one in the following 3 months. So they are all in works in progress.
Ma'am, as part of a team, my best wishes for your upcoming works. And also, ma'am, I request you to give permission to me to post the link of the book in my video description so that it'll be useful.
Certainly, I would love
it is a topic that is really important. Before we get into any relationship, we should know what is the importance and where are we getting into. And when we get into any depression, like ma'am said, always whatever we have inside, we should, until and unless we share it with others, हमारा मन में जो है वो हल्का हो जाएगा. If we don't share it with anyone else, it's going to pressure up from inside out, and it's going to burst outside in a different ways, and that imbalance we will not be able to handle it. So please, guys, any viewers, you have anything, whomever you trust, please keep sharing things. And ma'am, thank you so much for all the advice. And it's really, I see that it's going to help a lot of people in building a great relationship and long-lasting relationship. Ma'am, one last thing is, you are from Hyderabad. Can you share us any special moments about your family, ma'am?
Oh, yes. I'm happily married, one husband, 2 kids, 3 water tanks, and 4 senior citizens at home.
Okay.
That's my family. Yes, my kids are now grown up, settled into their own life, their education. So my husband is an entrepreneur himself. So at times I wear my consultant hat and I keep troubling him as well.
That's fantastic.
At the same time, I draw a lot of inspiration from him.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. Ma'am, what are the biggest challenges for any business when it comes to building their business? What kind of strategies would you suggest for them to overcome those challenges?
Let me slightly put it this way. The challenges could be common all the time, whether they are starting off or they are in their formative years of business, or even they mature over a period of time. So if you look at it, I would bucket this into 6. There could be leadership problems, there could be strategy related problems, there could be customer or stakeholders related problem, there could be problems related to matrices. If they don't have the right kind of measurement systems, there could be a problem. And number 5 is workforce, people related problem. And number 6 is operational problems. So if you look at any company, these problems will definitely be there in some form or the other, in some level or the other. Number 1. But the most common ones, or the most fundamental ones, which a business has to take care at all times, irrespective of their tenure, irrespective of the industry that they are in, irrespective of their experience that they have earlier, is SMO. I would call it sales, marketing, and operations. Okay. If these 3 things don't work in tandem, you will always see an issue, and this will all sum up for a larger issue like revenues not coming in, or revenues coming in but not sufficient. The number of customers are not going high. We are not able to expand into so and so geography. Our market share is not increasing. All this, but the bottom line is sales, marketing, and operations are the issues we should always keep solving at any point of time. If they are at the minimum, then rest of the problems like people's problem and all that are easier to manage.
Yes.
So that's my view about it. And excuse me. And if you say in terms of solutions, see, it all depends upon what kind of a problem that a company has in terms of sales. What kind of problem a company has in terms of marketing. Because when it comes for sales, in terms of sales, it could be many. Either sales not happening at all, sales happening but not efficient, sufficient, sales, you're not getting good clients, you're not getting paying clients, your sales people productivity is low, it can be seven. Similarly, when it comes to marketing, no marketing, no marketing. Even if there is some marketing, the messaging, the narrative is all wrong.
Yeah.
It's not reaching the intended people. So that's when we go do ads and all that. But if your fundamentals are not in place, all these solutions will not help. Similarly, operations. What doesn't fall anywhere in the company comes to the operations bucket.
Yeah.
And it's the most messier one and it's most, I would say, the most profound one. Usko na samalte, you yourself will get lost.
Okay.
That's the reason you will always see the ops guys firefighting.
Okay.
So not the CFO, not the CEO, not the sales guy firefighting. Firefighting कौन करता है? The ops head of the company.
Okay.
किसी और डिपार्टमेंट में जगह नहीं है, वो प्रॉब्लम विल लैंड ऑन हिज टेबल और
Yes.
हर टेबल.
Absolutely.
So that's where, in terms of solution, when you say sales का problem है, I look at it if there is a problem with productivity, there's a problem with their strategy.
Okay.
Because strategy गलत है तो आपका market expansion गया, आपका market share गया, you are not targeting the right kind of people, you are not able to give the right kind of a messaging, then these are the solutions one has to look into. When it comes to marketing, what kind of marketing are you doing? Is it really relevant to your kind of business? What kind of branding programs are you doing? Because marketing and branding are definitely different.
Okay.
So everything is part of branding only. Marketing is a subset, if you ask me. So what kind of branding stuff? The moment we say brand, people will say, "Ki, Padmini, that's big thing." No, branding is the only thing. Under that, you are doing several things, say like this kind of outreach or that kind of a marketing stuff. So we give solutions to see what is the brand image of that particular brand or the company. Is it correct? Not correct? Where are we trying to put that message? Who is our target segment? Is the message going separate, going the way it should go? What changes have to be done? And what kind of outreach programs are needed, both say online and offline also. PR and all that stuff. That comes in. It all depends upon the kind of problem they have with respect to their branding.
Okay.
And as long as operations is concerned, it is definitely a little trickier and little intricate also.
Okay.
Ops में सबसे बड़ा ये होता है कि people don't bother about processes.
Absolutely.
They just do it in a flow. Anything is done in a flow, but anything done in a flow is only for that time.
Yes.
But if you ask the same person to do that next time,
It's
he might not know. He will take another kind of a flow this time. His
Yes.
flow will be different. Therefore, when it comes to operations, what becomes extremely critical is process standardization.
Okay.
And if you have 5 processes in a company, which are very important to the business,
Okay.
one from sales, one from HR, one from, say, finance perspective, but those 5 or 10 processes have to be standardized.
Okay.
And people have to follow it again and again.
Okay.
Not just standardization, but also optimization. If there are any leaking buckets, जहाँ पे आपका time ज़्यादा जा रहा हो, उसको काट के क्या कर सकते?
जी.
जहाँ पे आपके resources, यानी कि आदमी लोग ज़्यादा लग रहे हैं, ये number of man hours into that job is taking. All these things, all these solutions can be put in. So basically, once we pinpoint the problem and the underlying reasons for it,
Okay.
solutioning come like that.
Okay.
Comes from that. So identifying the problem, identifying the root causes. Again, RCA, root cause analysis, is another important subject that we should dwell in. Quality management. So
Okay.
RCA करते हैं, root cause analysis करते हैं. What are the top 3 reasons which is contributing? And we will try and plug those 3 problems. So which is 60-70% is taken care of. Rest of the moment these are corrected, the other smaller ones either they look trivial or they get corrected themselves.
Yeah.
Either ways is fine for a business owner or health of a business.
Yeah.
So that's how we generally find solutions to it.
That's remarkable, ma'am. So sudden market changes and economic uncertainties will create a huge imbalance in the process and progress of a business.
True.
So how should they be prepared for such situation without layoffs or without having to optimize workforce cost? So is there something they should include in the planning phase, or how to address this, ma'am?
Of course, if you ask me, the first thing that I would ask any company to look at is a risk management framework.
Okay.
Because when the times are good, people feel that risk का कोई गुंजाइश नहीं है. Only when things are turning otherwise. No. But risk is something you are actually looking into the future. And we know that ours is a recession prone economy. Every 5 years, there is a recession in
Absolutely.
software or there is a recession in manufacturing thing. It's all cyclical. So recession is there. Probably there could be very less number of businesses which are recession proof. Say for healthcare हो, education हो, but वहाँ पे भी downturns दिखते हैं. ऐसा नहीं देना, but they are less prone to these. So therefore, as a business owner, one has to be very, very cognizant of risk management. And has to do risks as per the business, which could include financial risks, which could include liquidity risks, which could include market risks, then operational risks, and then probably competition. So basis the business, the number of years they are into the operation and where they want to get ahead in the next 5 to 10 years, they will have to plan their risks. At least for the next 3 years horizon, they should have their risks very clearly put across.
Okay, ma'am.
Again, competition may be competition inside the country, outside the country. ये भी हो सकता है. If you have global business, you will have to be taking care of those geographies as well. So once they have the risk management framework, listing down is the first step.
Okay.
First, acknowledging that this is a risk, whether it's going to stay or will it pass. So basis which identifying and listing the first step, then creating a small plan. What is needed? Because many a times the risks are not direct. If you know competition is your risk, but what exactly in terms of competition is risk? Is the pricing what they are charging vis-a-vis your pricing is cutthroat? That is a risk. If they are poaching your clients, that's a risk. So even in competition also, you have to be very clear what is the risk which is bothering the business currently today. Basis which they will try and be, person like me, a consultant, or anybody for that matter, a risk management professional, will try to help them create a plan. And few of them can be mitigated in, say, few months' time. Few of them have to feature on their risk management framework every year. If it is financial risk, it has to be there every year. First 2 years, it might be one of their high risk. But after they reach a financial stability, then it might be in their moderate risk. And if they're doing really well, the revenues are really going good, then the bottom line profitability is too good. And even if there's a downturn in the economy, it will not hit much. They should still make it and make a note of it, probably in their low risks. Which means that a business owner or the head of the company should never let few risks off his sight. Always be there, and there is somebody, the head of the department or somebody, keeps looking at it at a certain frequency, every 15 days, 1 month, or once in 3 months, to see how are we faring on this. Should be just like it should be, as you rightly said, it should be a part of the company's annual strategy. You cannot bring something during the course of the year. If anything has to be done when you are strategizing, pura plugs laga ke dal. Then people will put the same effort for everything. Otherwise, if you say काम और लेके आ गए, नहीं काम नहीं लेके आ गए. So that's part of planning. Absolutely, during strategizing itself, they have to bring in this particular thing.
Ma'am, when it comes to training in a company, there are two sets of people. One is older generation and younger generation. The older generation will find it difficult to cope up with latest technologies. But whereas the Gen Z generation, the youngest generation, will not know about the traditional approach in certain parts that is very important in the process of a company. So how to address this gap, and what is the best method of training that should be taken as a practice in any company for efficient running of the system?
It can be for a system, technology, or anything for that matter. This generation gap really showing up these days, I must say, because Gen Z is something that they don't like to take instructions. They like freedom. Whereas the traditional folks like me, I can't include you in that. You're much younger.
You can include anything. I'm ready for all the generations.
For somebody like me or any of my seniors, they like it in a structured thing. But to date, times are like that. If you are able to embrace the change, then irrespective of what generation you come from, which generation you are from, you are able to tide over very well. And fundamentally, one has to understand the difference between an older generation and a newer generation in terms of any kind of adoption, be it AI, technology, or anything. In terms of adoption, the older generation, there was scarcity of resources.
Okay.
So their hands-on with technology was slightly limited, whereas this generation has everything available at their fingertips, and their exposure is far larger than the previous ones, and they are born into this era. So for them, whatever they have been seeing from childhood, it seems very normal. For us, probably for the older generations, we would have seen once we would have turned 30, 40, 50, or at times 60 also. Then for us, it was an effort to
Yes.
change. But for a kid who's born into this era, बचपन से आंख खोलते ही मैं ये देख रहा हूँ, टेक्नोलॉजी देख रहा हूँ. सो आई मीन आई एम लाइक इंडक्टेड इनटू इट. मेरे को कुछ फर्क ही नहीं दिखता है. यू से दैट आई एम फास्ट, यू आर स्लो.
Yes.
So it's for the later generations, the earlier generations, to understand that they are not our competitors at all. The younger generation is not competitor. Only thing is that they are born into it, so it comes naturally to them. They are more exposed, and what we can do is, what is necessary for you in terms of technology adoption, you should pick it up. You should make an attempt to learn. I know one of my clients who's an elderly gentleman, and he runs a 40-year-old company. He has been a pioneer in India for manufacturing of that particular product. So today, if you ask him at any point of time, he can give you the names of 30 odd AI tools.
Okay. Wow.
And he attends every possible webinar that anybody, जैसा वैभव बोलता है या नवीन परमार बोलता है, he's on to it and he downloads it and he uses it and tells Padmini, if you want to transcript this, why are you writing it down in your book? No, bolo. It will type it out. There could be some spelling mistakes, but you save your time. I'm like, oh, wow, at this age. So I draw my inspiration from people like that. Of course, there could be youngsters who are lazy, who don't want to. So my idea is, if you understand that this particular technology or this particular AI tool or anything for that matter is necessary for me for leading an easygoing life, a peaceful life, I must embrace it.
Okay.
If it is not necessary, I don't need it in my life, I'm very happy the way it is, I don't have to get bothered about what others say about it.
Okay.
I still have my small phone and I'm able to call and able to receive calls. I'm fine. I don't have to switch on to smartphone because that gives me peace of life.
Okay.
So that way, anything in moderation will always help, and having a clarity whether you require it or not will help.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it, if you ask me.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Ma'am, do you offer any training for any courses for students or business owners? Do you offer any training, ma'am, on the?
Oh, yes, I do. In fact, as a part of my business acceleration programs, we do trainings, mentoring, and coaching. We have 30 plus curated training programs that we do. Plus, if there are any individuals or any organizations who require trainings for their teams, so basis the necessity or basis the agenda, their agenda or their requirement, we design courses, we do trainings for them too.
Okay.
And in fact, I will be happy to share that very soon. I'll be starting something called Tritiksha School of Entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So where I'm trying to bring in the essentials, the fundamentals of entrepreneurship for, I would say, these young entrepreneurs who are now getting into it. Because people get into entrepreneurship and they look up to networking events for support. Instead, if you know the basics, at least you know where to get the help from, what you got to do. Otherwise, you will always look up to somebody for the next 7-8 years till that time you understand that mujhe sab kuch samajh mein aa gaya. Why do you want to kill so much of a time when you can do a very, very concentrated, intensive program for 6 to 9 months, bring in all the fundamentals and then get going? Nobody would stop. Anyways, you were wanting to start a business. You can start just 9 months later with full-fledged information. Then it saves a lot of time and effort for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we do programs.
Ma'am, I request you, whatever the current programs you're running, I request you to please share the links. I will put it in the video description for people and viewers, whoever wanted to take up the training program, for them to contact you. And
so, as I said, we are coming up with that. They are in the phase. But yeah, what all trainings I do, the other topics and all, I will send that across.
Yes.
But this Tritiksha School of Entrepreneurship is going to last
take
another
time.
2-3 months. Yeah, another 3 months time, because everything ideation, then designing and implementation. So I go through the same process. So ideation is done, we are in the designing process.
Yes.
So once it is started, then I cannot say that we want to give it a pause and design it a little better and come back. So that's why we are taking a little time. Yeah.
Superb, ma'am. Superb. Ma'am, in one of your LinkedIn posts recently, you shared a thoughts about artificial intelligence reshaping entrepreneurship. So, as a consulting firm, have you ever implemented to enrich your services using the help of artificial intelligence? Or if any company or any business want to implement the artificial intelligence in their process, would you, as a firm, consulting firm, be happy to guide them, ma'am?
Certainly. See, it all depends upon the requirement of the business and the business owner. For example, one of the business owners, I mean, they are into the exports of granites, and all their clients are outside India, not India. So they had an issue with their emails, because their entire conversation with the clients happens over messaging apps and emails. So therefore, they needed some level of automation and few tools. Although I am not an expert at several tools, but I got them help. Somebody who is an expert in AI and tools, I got them that help. They collaborated and they are doing wonderful. So in my capacity as a consultant, I try businesses in the most appropriate manner. If I'm able to help directly with me along with my team, I do it. Else, I try getting their help. So getting help from outside. So to give you a short answer, AI is definitely currently not my forte. I might get into in due course of time, because constant learning. But yes, wherever there is a requirement in terms of automation, in terms of AI, as per their necessity, I bring in help. And I ensure that that is implemented well, seamlessly into the system. Else, what happens? It again goes back to the business. Impacts there. So I know that I cannot let anybody impact my results to the business owner. So I will have to make sure that everything is falling into place, even if it comes from several sources for the same business. I do that.
That is well explained, ma'am. Thank you so much. And when it comes to startups, how important it is that they get the support of a business consulting firm before they step into building something, and how it can scale up their revenue, ma'am?
Startup, of course, but I would say the way every family has a family doctor, even if you don't have a family doctor, but you are very keen on visiting the same doctor for you and yourself, your spouse and kids, your parents, hospital go, doctor go. Similarly, every business, whether it's a startup or in its formative years or mature, they should have a consultant, because that outside in view at all times is necessary. Of course, the necessity of a consultant at the startup stage is much higher. But when we are able, and this happens because the essentials of entrepreneurship are not in place. Only then this kind of problems arise. So for them, consultant is not a consultant who is able to give you expert advice. For consultant is हर चीज आप ही बोलो कैसा करना है. They become a guide, a mentor, a guru. No, as a business owner, you are your own boss. So you want somebody who can add value to your ideas instead of influencing it so much that over a period of time it does not remain the business of a startup entrepreneur. It becomes the business of a business consultant. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. So the essentials of entrepreneurship are in place. Then even the startups, so-called startups, because once they start, we call it as a startup for a few months or years. For that, at that point of time, even they will be able to appreciate the help the consultant brings in. So that's how a consultant can become a go-to person for any business. So startups have to understand the essentials of entrepreneurship, and especially when youngsters are starting. See, somebody who have worked in corporates or or who is who's taking over the family business, they might want to brush up their skills, few here and there, and get some expertise. But somebody who's starting from the scratch or a youngster, then it becomes absolutely essential to have these fundamentals in place and then get going.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Ma'am, and as a final request, I would ask you to give permission to post about Tritiksha Consulting websites and socials, so that other people who are interested to get business consulting from you, they would be able to easily approach you. So
Thank you so much.
that I would do.
I love
And
that.
ma'am, it is wonderful to get lot of insights about business consulting firm and how important its presence inside as a part of a company in growing and scaling up the revenue of a company. So thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful for your time in busy schedule. You joined me. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Have a
You too.
wonderful day.
Good day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.